that opened at 6 o'clock this morning?
We have a koala coffee shop downstairs. But since the COVID, I have been a convert with making my own coffee, and I do a really good job of it. But I unfortunately, Starbucks was a non-issue. It was, for a year and a half almost. So anyway.
Okay, we should be live. Wow, that was an effort. Apologies.
Okay, welcome everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 9:02. And so we will first, do you need to take roll call, Eric?
We should.
Why don't you do that?
Okay, Supervisor Barger, and as we stated, she is unavailable, or her representative. Vice Chair Carter.
Present.
Elected member Mayor Hepburn.
Present.
Member of the public EIFD.
Here.
Member of the public Ray Skelton.
Here.
Great. Okay, we do have a quorum. Thank you.
Wonderful.
We just have a couple items of business. The first is the approval of the minutes from March 3rd.
So approved.
Second.
Okay, and we do have to do a roll call. Vice Chair Carter.
Yes. I'm present
Mayor
too.
Hepburn. Mayor Hepburn.
Present, yes.
Member Ivy.
Yes.
Ray Skelton.
In favor.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bob, you threw me off. You took my job. I'm supposed to announce the approval of the minutes.
I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. Please take it from here.
Okay. Item number 3 is the infrastructure and facility reimbursement agreement. Now, Bob, can you follow up on that?
I think I will let Eric follow up on that because he's done all the work on it. So.
All right, Eric.
Thank you. Yes, as you recall at your last meeting, we had a discussion on potential pathways forward with being able to fund the first round of projects listed in the infrastructure financing plan. And based on the council's direction and the PFA's direction at the last meeting, the city council has tentatively approved this reimbursement agreement between the city and the PFA, which will allow the city to provide the funds to start the first round of projects, the priority projects. And then the PFA will be responsible for reimbursing those funds over time with a minimal interest rate of 1%. So the city council 2 meetings ago, I believe, had approved this reimbursement agreement. So now it's just before you today to finally formally approve it. And then that'll allow us to kick off the first round, which is roughly $75,000 in design work that needs to be done for basically pedestrian improvements from the Gold Line Station platform to our Old Town and the University area. E Street, 2nd Street, 3rd Street, improved sidewalks, crossings, lighting enhancements, landscaping, all the things that we've talked about in terms of making that a safe, enjoyable walk, and bike lanes as well. So those are all part of it. And so the design work will kick off, and then we'll go out to bid to contractors to actually do that work. So that's really the first priority that we have now. Anything else you want to add? Yeah, I just want to at least point out, or as a reminder, so this cooperation agreement is very similar to the ones that were in place under redevelopment agencies when they first were established. And it's not necessarily that the PFA or the EIFD will start reimbursing back at any defined time. We will have to report our activity and acknowledge how much expenditures are occurring on a year-to-year basis, basically the obligation that is being incurred on the behalf of the city for the EIFD. It's at some point in the future after we've started to generate enough revenue that we can start to pay back some of those funds back to the city. The city is just going to be the backstop so we can start to get these projects going. So the PFA should be confident in knowing that it's not going to burden us. We're going to get the projects done and start to get the projects off the ground before the city expects to get reimbursed back at any point. And those statements will be provided on a quarterly basis. So every meeting, since you do meet quarterly, we'll have an update for you on that agenda that shows any expenses that the city's undertaken for this effort.
Okay, any questions?
We do have some members of the public that are viewing on Zoom. I've not had any requests to speak over the phone yet, but if there are other individuals watching on Zoom today.
Okay,
And I don't see any of them have raised their hands to ask any questions at this point or make any comments.
no, exactly. Okay, good. Okay, so then at this time, since there's no questions or call-ins, let's go ahead and have a motion for approval of the PFA.
Motion to approve.
Can I have a second?
Second?
Okay, take a vote. Eric?
Go ahead, she asked you, you go ahead.
Vice Chair Carter,
Yes.
Mayor Hepburn,
Yes.
Mr. Ivy,
Yes.
and Mr. Skelton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is the annual report.
Go ahead, Eric.
Okay, so also
Eric,
first,
your show.
I know. We rehearsed this really well. So per the state law for EIFDs, actually the amended law, one of the new requirements is an annual report that has to be provided to the public and the property owners within the district, and then also discussed and approved by the PFA. So this is obviously the first annual report. We did send this out roughly a month ago. There's a 30-day notification prior to today's meeting that's required by the law. So all property owners received it in the mail. We posted on the city's website. And then, so it was available in those ways up until today, then obviously part of today's packet, agenda packet. So we have not received any request or contact from any of the property owners after that was sent out. So this annual report this year is pretty minimal because we haven't had any expenditures as the authority. We just had the revenue. So we had some estimated revenues that, because we don't receive the information actually until June. So when this was put together at the beginning of May, we had to make some estimates on what we would projected to receive in terms of revenues for this year. And we estimated around 42,000. In fact, the county's posted an update that it was closer to 45,000, I think, but we think those numbers are still flawed. We think there's something wrong in their accounting. So we're still working with our tax consultant to try to rectify that. So we expect it to actually be higher than that once we get that fixed. So, but in any case, we expected that by the end of this fiscal year that we'll have roughly 90,000, probably $90,000 to $100,000 in reserves, basically, as we don't have any planned expenditures as the PFA. Again, these are the funds that, based on the last approval, these are the funds that you'll use to reimburse the city once that time comes. So we're just kind of stockpiling these annual. These are the property tax increments that are received through the property taxes for those properties in the district. So these are going to continue to grow. And as time goes on, there'll be annual growth, but also compounding growth. So that's kind of what the statement shows. And so you'll receive this at your June meeting every year as the annual report. So there is resolution 2103, which we're recommending that the PFA adopt, which basically adopts the annual report as provided.
All right. Any questions from the committee?
Good report.
Very good.
And if anybody's watching on Zoom, if you'd like to comment on this, you can raise your hand as well. And I've not received any requests to comment on this item. Just double check.
I see no hands raised either.
Correct, and no emails have come through.
Okay, perfect. Okay, then at this point from the committee and board, I need a motion.
So move the annual report.
Second.
Okay, Vice Chair Carter,
Yes.
Mayor Hepburn,
Yes.
Mr. Ivy,
Yes.
and Mr. Skelton.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Perfect.
Okay, we'll move on to public comments. Is there anybody that wrote in that would like to speak, or is there any hands raised? Or do you have any public comment, Eric?
I do not on email, and there are no hands raised.
Okay, can't see that. I can see that too. Bob, do you have something?
I do. I have a couple things that I'd like to share for the benefit of this group. First thing is, and I shared this with council yesterday, I got a call from Congresswoman Napolitano's office, and her specifically. We had put in a request for some earmark as it related to the pedestrian bridge. And she has reported to us that she has advanced in her request, which is through the House, but still needs to be approved by the Senate, $1 million towards the pedestrian bridge for us. What's that? Well, we put in for 4, but she only was able to authorize $1 million. So that will help. That's one of the puzzle pieces, you know, as far as we go through the design and construction. So it's really good news. We're continuing to pursue CTC money as well as sub-regional money. So while we have the EIFD as the primary thrust of funding, we are still trying to pursue other funding sources. We're not going to be dependent on that for these projects. We're going to try and find others. And so we're hopeful that we're going to be able to stitch together between the Measure M money for sub-regional, as well as CTC, as well as this, a majority of the expenses associated with the bridge. And I think it's worth at least sharing with the group. Eric and Dan Kesey and the design team has been meeting almost weekly as of late regarding the bridge to come up with a conceptual that we can then bring to this group as well as to council to just kind of share with you where they're seeing this going. We've had some good discussion with the potential developer on the Fairplex site to make sure that the bridge fits in and is complementary of what their vision is. And they've got a pretty incredible vision at this point. So really excited about that, as well as it functions well within the station. So hats off to that team and the work that they've been doing. But I will tell you, the cost of the bridge continues to get a little bit more. So this external money is going to help. A big part of that is the undergrounding of the utilities, because the lines that are, I'll call it on the south side of Arrow, between Fairplex and White, there's a lot of line operators or utilities on there. Thank you. But in addition to that, there's transmission lines. So those just compound the cost. So we're continuing to move forward. We'll share the information as best we have it. I think we're looking at fall, give or take.
Maybe late summer.
Yeah, with council and the PFA. So I want you to look forward to that, but that's obviously a big project that we're very excited and we see as a cornerstone to the EIFD as well as the crossing. So I don't know if Eric, if you have anything else on that as well.
No.
So I don't know if you have any questions on it, but I thought that was some news to share.
I do. I received a mailer about the Carvana that they're building over at the Fairplex. And that, I believe, is going to be the southeast corner of White and Arrow Highway, that they're going to build that. Now, will the pedestrian bridge be worked into where that's going to be on that side? And where is the bridge right now supposed to go?
Bridge will strictly serve the station and directly south to the Laverne portion. The area you're talking about, and it's still going through the conceptual. They still have to go through all the approval process. So I want to caution that it's not done at this point. But the Carvana site is what's referred to as the blue lot, which is actually in Pomona. It's not in Laverne. So while the pedestrian bridge will serve the fair and the Fairplex property, it will only connect into the Laverne portion of it, which is directly across from the station. Okay. Eric's trying to bring up a screenshot or a map here to give you perspective. So go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, so this is the side of the Carvana lot, which is the Blue Gate, which is the property between White Avenue and Arrow Highway, all completely within the city of Pomona. Where the pedestrian bridge is actually going to be up here, which directly, as Bob mentioned, connects the station platform here to the Fairplex site, the primary Fairplex site. as this property will no longer be used for Fairplex operations, as it will be completely utilized by Carvana, provided they get approval.
Wonderful. Okay, I know they're having a workshop next Thursday night, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna log on and watch that too to see what's proposed, but I was just wondering where the bridge was gonna be. So, oh, that's good. It's by the station makes sense.
And Mr. Mayor, I have to ask, was that a grandbaby running by there that you waved at?
Yes, there was. As a matter of fact, where is my grandbaby? Bring him here. Yes. He has the same time frame I do. He wakes up at 4 o'clock. So he's on my schedule. So they've had him down at the beach since 4:30. So anyway.
Oh,
God.
Great. Where are you? Hi. Hi, Lincoln. Say hi, everybody. Hi. Hi.
aw, how cute.
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry.
That's okay. So any other questions? I just wanted to kind of get that out for the benefit of the PFA. I know we've been having these meetings and it probably feels like, what are we doing? And I think it's important to note there's a lot of behind the scenes going on at this point. And before we know it, the construction and the activities that we'll be taking on will be before us.
Good, exciting. This is exciting.
Just a real quick comment, as I noted the other day when we had our meeting regarding when you had told us, Mr. Russi, regarding the Grace Napolitanos. This is relationships with our city, with our staff, hard work, San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments with the bridge, design phases. This is a very intricate process with lots of relationships that really benefit our city, especially with the Gold Line, L line coming in, and with Councilor Carter, Gold Line representative, and with Habib and all their people. This is like a huge group of hands connected together that make this all work, and it's the relationships we have with our state and federal elected officials and our local people, our staff for sure. And I want to thank everybody, because this just doesn't happen just because they throw money out. It happens because of the relationships we have with everyone. So this bridge is desperately needed for our connection between the Fairplex and our new L line station. So thank you to all, and thank you, Mr. Russi. I think this is just a testament of our relationships we have with all of our individuals that we deal with. And thank you. It's this money is gonna, as we know, the escalation of prices on anything to do with our local construction is going up and up and up as we're trying to get that L line completed all the way to Claremont and on to Montclair. It's just, construction's going crazy. So are the prices of materials. It's just a very, very interesting time right now. But thank you all. Greatly appreciate it.
You're very welcome. We're happy to do it. So a lot of good work going on.
Okay, no other comments from anyone? Ray or Gil, you got anything you want to add?
No, just very exciting progress.
It is.
Very good. We're very supportive. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you all for joining us today, and then I will adjourn the meeting till our next meeting, which is Wednesday, September 8th at 9 a.m. So we'll see you then.
See you then.
Bye, everybody.
You all.
Aloha, Tim.
Aloha.
Thank you.